Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sober School, where you can always find experience, strength, and hope. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic through and through, and I'm thankful for that. We want to welcome you to this platform here today, regardless of what your addiction may be. You are absolutely welcome here. We support all pathways, your pathway to recovery, and whichever pathway it is that you choose, we are here to help, and we definitely want to make sure that it works for you. If you're watching us through our Recovery Classroom Facebook group page, we encourage you to share your own experience, strength, and hope, and your own words of wisdom. You never know who needs to hear what it is you might have to say, and it could just change someone's life, including your own. I want to pitch right in, and I got a lot I want to talk about this morning. Our crosstalk meeting from Friday, and then of course the crash course Q&A that we did on Saturday. There's a lot of questions that came in, and we were able to address the questions at the QA, but not all of them from the crosstalk meeting. So I want to kind of, some of these questions are just profound, and then one of the first things that came in was about step 3, and of course that's where we're going anyway. Step 3 of the 12-step program states that we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of a God of our own understanding. And I want to talk about that first and foremost. We're not talking about religion. We're not talking about turning my life over to Jesus Christ. We're not talking about turning my life over to the Baptist church or the Pentecostal church or nothing like that at all. It's not what this is about. We just made a decision to turn our will and our lives. What does that mean? Well, our will is our thoughts, what we think about. Our lives is our actions. My life is the accumulated sum of all the actions I've taken since the day I was born. Right? That's my life. And I can't have an action without a thought. So if I make a decision to turn my will, my thoughts, and my life, my actions, over to the care of a God of my own understanding, basically I'm letting God, my higher power, whom I choose to call God, by the way, it doesn't have to be God in your book, but I'm letting my higher power determine how I think about things. And that's one of the questions that came in. How have you changed? And I was thinking about that. I remember when I absolutely felt just total despair. I felt no self-value, no self-worth, no self-esteem whatsoever. I felt like I was just a walking bag of human bones and flesh with no purpose in life. That's where I was at. And in order to deal with that despair and that shame of who I'd allowed myself to become, I was remorseful over who I'd allowed myself to become. But in order to deal with that, I drank. Because when I drank, I didn't have to think about it. I would just drink until I passed out, wake up a few hours later, start drinking again until I passed out again. And it was just this endless cycle. I made a comment last week that, I would have 2 or 3 days within a 24-hour period, and that's what I meant. So I would be up for 4 hours, 5 hours, drink until I passed out, and sleep for 2-3 hours, wake up and start it all over again. So I now have purpose in my life. See, before I had no purpose at all. I felt like I was just absolutely worthless. I could provide no meaning. I couldn't enhance anyone else's life, much less my own. I wanted to feel good about myself. I just never did, because I viewed myself from the perspective of I was absolutely useless, worthless. And that's the hole that my alcoholism kept me in. See, if I felt that way and I started drinking, well, the drinking never helped me get out of that hole. The drinking just covered me up while I was in that hole, right? And that may be what your addiction is doing to you as well. So my life has changed because now I do have self-value, self-worth. I do have self-esteem. I feel good. Am I perfect? No, absolutely not. But you know what? I feel pretty good about the person I've become today because of my alcoholism. That was definitely one way I changed for sure. Another question, how do you gain self-worth? Well, I started doing meaningful things for meaningful people. I took the big book's advice. I started trying to be of maximum service to my fellows, trying to help my neighbor, trying to love my neighbor as I was learning to love myself. And let me be clear about this too. We can't help anybody. We can't carry the message. We can't give away what we ain't got. So that means I had to go learn to love myself first before I could start loving my neighbor and helping other people. And that's where you want to work with your qualified sponsor to make sure you're doing that. And in doing things, in learning how to love myself, I was able to learn how to start loving other people and being able to help other people. Just this early this morning, we've been actually, my wife and I both have been on the phone trying to help a fellow alcoholic and drug addict. And it's been a long morning, but here we are. This is what we love to do. So talk about meaningful purpose in life. Man, this excites me. This excites me that I get to be of maximum service. That's what helps grow my self-worth and my self-value. That's what helps grow my own self-esteem, is by being of maximum service to other people. But, and I want to reiterate, I can't give away something I ain't got. You have to learn to start loving yourself before you can start loving other people. And one of the other questions that came in, and I love this question, I had a year sober, but went through a traumatic event. How do I get through it sober? How do I stay sober? Because I threw all that away. Well, let me be the first to tell you, I was 4 years sober. When I first came in the rooms of AA back in 2013-14, I said, nope, it's not for me. I went out and I got sober on my own. I did great for 4 years. And then I pissed it away. I threw it away. And that made me even more humiliated, made me feel even more humiliated, more ashamed of who I had become. And yet another reason why I hated who I'd allowed myself to become. I made the choice to pick up that drink that night in Virginia Beach. I'd never forget that. And so looking back on it now, I don't look at it, and again, going back to how I've changed, I don't look at it as if I threw away 4 years of sobriety. See, no, I didn't. I remember those 4 years. I clearly remember the things I did with my family, with my friends, with my children, with my wife. I clearly remember those 4 years. It's not like I threw them away. It's not like the 4 years just vanished. I don't have amnesia and I lost those 4 years of my life. Now, I lost the years afterwards. That's for damn sure, right? Because I started drinking again in 2017, I think it was. So when I started drinking again, so from 2017 full on into 2018 and all the way up to July of 2021, I lost those years. I got amnesia from those years for sure. But the 4 years that I thought I threw away, I didn't throw away. I still have those years. If I threw anything away, it was a chip. It was a chip that I threw away. And so I would much rather throw away a chip that might cost $1, $2 or whatever, than to throw away the 4 years of my life. I didn't throw those 4 years away. I still clearly remember those years. Sure, I had to start over, and sure, I did start over, but I started over. I know people right now, right this second, that have been in the rooms that they know more about AA than anybody that I know of, and they relapsed. They went back out. And they refuse to start over simply because they're afraid of picking up a 24-hour chip. We're talking about a piece of plastic. You're allowing a piece of plastic to prevent you from starting your life back over again. That's insane to me. God forbid I relapse. But I tell you what, the second I relapse, and the second I came back to my senses, I would want to get back as quickly as possible. Chip or no chip, chips be damned. Chips be damned. It's not about picking up chips. It's about finding that peace, finding that serenity, finding that self-value, that self-worth again. It's about getting myself back on into the life that I've got now. My life is not perfect by any means. Ask anybody who knows me. I've always been very open about my personal life and all the problems and challenges that I face on a day-to-day basis. My life is not perfect, but my best day drunk is still doesn't even pale in comparison to my worst day sober. I promise you that. So I want to encourage you today. Chips be damned. You have the opportunity to change your life today. And it starts with taking that first step. It starts by saying, you know what, maybe I do have a problem. We talked about that last week. Go back, watch some of those videos. Well, we're going to start diving into this third step this week, so hang tight for me on that. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. I hope you guys have an absolute kick-ass Monday, start of the week, and thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys keep me sober. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.